Good morning, Unity. Have you guys finished your Christmas shopping? Don't lie, we're in church. Standing outside the door, love and mercy. You wonder if there's a place here for you. You know there's peace inside. Still you're searching for someone who understands the pain that you've been through. The doors are locked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, just come on in. You'll find a place of rest in the arms of spirit. God is waiting so long for your homecoming day. God knows the peace you see and the hurt you're feeling. Spirit wants to hold you and wipe your tears away. But the Father waits with open arms. God is calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, just come on in. Well, there's room enough in a house of love for someone just like you. Whoa. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, just come on in. Oh, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, just come on in.
Good morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. So good to see you all this morning. Our kids are here with us for a few minutes before they go to class, and we are all here to celebrate together, so welcome. I'm Bev Spivey, and I'm happy to minister here with my husband, Reverend Lawrence Palmer, and it is our joy to be with you and hope to get to speak to each and every one of you today. Our musicians, are you ready? Music director, James McCoy.
Good morning. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. We have Mr. John Rose at the piano once again with us this morning. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Gabriel Sines at the organ this morning. That's Jeff Renza on the drum set. Lest we not forget, Miss Karina Iglesias is here with us once again.
And so as we begin today, we want to remember that our theme has been and still is living beyond enough. We really take that seriously. It's so important that we keep our light shining and feel abundance all the time. But this month in particular, the theme is celebration. So won't you join me in this quote by our founder, Charles Fillmore? Together, as I pray, the idea of the one reality is quickened in me. I am alive and athrill with the one radiant substance of spirit. Alive and athrill. If you haven't read Charles Fillmore, that is a giveaway that this quote is his. And we also want to share in our vision together, centered in God. We create an ever-expanding spiritual community of one. And we see ourselves with this mission statement. Together, we are a spiritual beacon of inspiration, abundance, and enlightenment. And let's just have a brief prayer. And before we step into that, let's see ourselves as this loving community. And I want to share with you that Reverend Louise Morley's daughter, Stevie, passed away on Friday evening. We celebrate her life. We celebrate that she is no longer suffering, as she's had very many health challenges through the years. So we give our comfort and our love to Louise, and we bless Stevie on her way. And let us pray now with each other as we breathe in the breath of life, and we acknowledge that love never dies, that life never truly ends. And although we don't understand and it's a mystery, we have that knowing within ourselves that God is with us always, and we as a spiritual being are always with God. And so on this day, we celebrate life. We celebrate the love of Spirit. We celebrate each other. And so it is. Amen. And let us pray together our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. And now our reader this morning for Advent is Catherine Guerin.
Hello, my name's Catherine, and today I'm reading about love. I look for and find ways to show love. Love is the strongest force in the universe. Love heals. Love finds ways to connect us when there seems to be no way. As I get ready to celebrate the birth of Jesus, I am reminded of the power of love. My love is shown as kindness to strangers. It is also shown as love of family and friends. The gift I give and receive are symbols of the warmth and love we share. I give the gift of caring as I pray for those in need. I show love with each smile or kind word I offer to others. In return, I feel even greater love. Love is multiplied as it is given away. Love one another. John 13:34.
Say you're going to light the candle. Oops. And now Catherine is lighting our Advent candle for love. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Let's all stand and sing.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Beautiful. In excelsis Deo. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains proclaim?
know, one of the reasons we have the children start with us, of course, is for them to see each other participate in the reading. But also by their staying through that opening hymn, they get to hear some of these traditional Christmas songs that we don't want to be lost in all of our traditions for the holidays. So if you're here for the very first time, we want to welcome you today and ask if you would just raise your hand. We just have a welcome brochure to give you. So is there anyone with us for the very first time? Great, we welcome you. All the way in the back, Michelle.
Welcome, welcome.
We really give you a great welcome, and we want to invite everybody, whether you've been here a lot of times or this is your first, after every Sunday service through that building, which is called Fellowship Hall, we have refreshments, coffee, and some snacks that our volunteers lovingly provide. So we invite all of us to socialize afterwards and get to know each other as a community here. That's important to us. Prayer is also very important. We have chaplains available who are trained in unity prayer methods. If you don't know what that is, take a chance and pray with one of them. We practice affirmative prayer, positive prayer, and it's very refreshing to learn how to do that. They are available a half hour before every service. First room on the right is our prayer chapel, and you are welcome to go there for any kind of private prayer you want, or if you would like a chaplain to pray with you there, one will always be available in that room starting at 10:30 on Sunday mornings. And then, of course, afterwards, the chaplain stands up in the side aisles and are available to pray with you after the service. This week, I think, is this our third week, Cynthia? Fourth week of meditation class, yes. So if you haven't been yet, come on out on Tuesday night. Starts at 7 o'clock, goes to 9 o'clock. There is instruction and education about meditation. And then after the break time, there is a wonderful time of meditation that our licensed teacher, Cynthia, will lead you in. A wonderful way to refresh yourself during this very busy holiday time. So come on out on Tuesday nights for our meditation class. Our holiday activities have been rolling along. We enjoyed a movie on Friday night. And now this week on Friday night, we are actually caroling in the neighborhood. Several of you live in the neighborhood, Melissa and Judy, and we try to make them proud as we go through, and it may not be on key, but we're happy. And we have candy canes to hand out. So come on out for Friday night. Keep up some of these traditions. Don't get so busy with parties and shopping and the big events around town that you forget your spiritual roots here with community. So come on out for a little bit of caroling. We will gather at 6:30, but join in whenever you get here. We will be the ones walking and singing. Hard to miss. Holiday services. Yes, we will have Sunday service as usual next week. And since it's Christmas Eve, we will do what we always do and have a Christmas Eve service. And that'll be on Sunday evening. It'll be from 7 to 8. We will have special music, and we will have our candlelight tradition, just gathering together. If you can spend that hour, 7 to 8. And if you're free for the entire evening, we're going to have cookies and coffee and fellowship afterwards in Fellowship Hall. So we hope you'll come out for that also. And another thing happening this week is the winter solstice. And we always have a drumming circle on the equinox and the solstice. So our weather is beautiful. We will be at that grassy area right to your left when you go to the end of Atlantic and you see the Pompano Beach Park there. You'll park in the parking lot and you'll see a grassy area. You may hear some drums. So we will be there. Lauren starts drumming early. We're going to meet at 7 o'clock. Well, I mean, you know, we set up and you just start. All right, 7 o'clock Thursday night. Exactly. What else have we got? You get me all rattled up here. Oh, Ron, come on up. This is really important. We're starting a prosperity class. Unity is known for its prosperity teachings. We want everybody to be able to live beyond enough and to understand how Spirit is always available to do that with us. So we're starting a 10-week class beginning Tuesday, January 9th. Lawrence and I are facilitating it. Ron will assist us as well. The only fee is for the course book of $45. So we ask you to come out, see if this prosperity will work for you. It's a commitment class, but nobody is going to be asking you to produce your financial records or your tax returns. So come on out and take a look at prosperity.
And it is a tithing class, but it's a lot more too. We're going to look at all the different ways that God expresses in our lives and how we can be in tune with that so we can live more, be more, and have an incredible 2018. This is a cutting-edge class. It is the newest prosperity offering in Unity. It was developed by a Unity minister at Unity of San Francisco. So come and be part of this. First class starts on January 9th, the 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and we look forward to seeing you there.
If you have any questions, we'll be available after the service. So let's all stand now and greet each other. Oh, yes, there are handouts about the class that you can take with you.
You're all so attractive and interesting, but when the music stops,
They've forgotten how important it is with musical chairs to take a seat immediately when the music stops.
It's a subtle cue. It's a subtle cue.
We need to fill this place up a little more. We have 325 seats. So we need to have 326 people. So you'll all scramble in and take a seat. How's that? Well, one thing Unity of Pompano is known for is its warm, welcoming environment, and that's as authentic as we are, and we are so glad you enjoy greeting each other so much. But to focus now and get us calmed down a little for our meditation and then on for our Sunday lesson, I'm going to read a writing from James Dillett Freeman, who's the poet laureate of Unity. For a number of years, he's passed away now, but he actually worked with and knew the Fillmores. He was kind of a rags to riches story. They took him in as a ragamuffin, and he ended up being a wonderful presence. So, given that they were in Kansas City in the wintertime, you will hear remembrance of that in this reading. Christmas is a way of keeping faith in the power and love of God and the goodness of things, even when we see only small evidence of their presence in the world around us. Christmas is more than just a festive celebration, a tinsel time for getting gifts and having parties. It is a declaration that there is an element, divine, isn't it? An element in us human beings which is stronger than all our weaknesses, braver than all our fears, surer than all our doubts, something which in the darkest days proclaims its faith in the advancing light, and even though the worst of winter lies yet ahead, keeps confident that spring is on its way. So take this next part metaphysically. Let the snow fall as it may, and let the short days hang on in dark and cold. There is that in us which refuses to submit to any icy season or gloomy reason, but steps forth into the wind and snow and says in a cheery voice to the world and every passerby, Merry Christmas. So won't you now prepare for a time of meditation by singing Surely the Presence.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and this grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
I invite you now to settle into that very comfortable and familiar position for your body. And as you do so, you can give your body permission to relax, to let go, to let be. And with that loving permission, your body will immediately move its focus from the outer to the inner. You can also give your mind that loving permission to relax and just to be, because there's nothing that you need to think about right now. With body at ease and mind at ease, your awareness is free to commune with Spirit. And on this Advent Sunday, where we are recognizing love, I invite you to imagine yourself being enfolded in a warm blanket of love as you are in this space. We come together here as one spiritual community, and we are indeed enveloped, enfolded in pure love, the pure love of Spirit. Allow whatever images may come for you. I recently had the opportunity to stand in front of a roaring fire in a cold northern home. I remember that now, the warmth of the heat of the fire. You may have a favorite blanket that you wrap around your shoulders when you're a bit chilly. You may remember going swimming on a hot summer day in warm water. Whatever image comes to mind, welcome that image as a representation of you now being enfolded in the pure love of Spirit. The warmth doesn't care whether you're good or bad. The warmth doesn't care whether you're successful or not. The warmth simply gives. And I invite you now to be open to receive this love in which we swim, this love in which we are immersed, this love that is unconditional and never ending. So as we have now prepared, let us allow our awareness to sink into that deep of our heart, taking these images of love with us, and let us enjoy this time of communion with Spirit together. Now, as you prepare to move your awareness back to this space and this time, back to your body, you know that even an instant during which your awareness is immersed in that deep of your heart, that healing and transformation take place. And you know that you can bring with you into your body, into your heart, into your mind, the essence of this experience in the stillness. And in this coming week, as you choose to, you can take a deep breath and recall once again this blessing of this time and be blessed all over again. So with a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity of being together in this way, I invite you to take a deep, slow breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment, then exhale slowly through your mouth. And when you're ready, open your eyes and we will sing together, Alleluia.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia,
silent prayer. I am frightened by the load I bear in a world as cold as stone. Must I walk this path alone? Be with me now. Be with me now. Breath of heaven, hold me together. Be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, light in my darkness. Pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven. Do you wonder as you watch my face if a wiser one should have had my place? But I offer all I am for the mercy of your plan. Help me be strong. Help me be. Help me. Breath of heaven, hold me together. Be forever near me. Breath of heaven. Breath of heaven, light in my darkness. Pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven, hold me together. Be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, light in my darkness. Pour over me your holiness, for you are worthy. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, breath of heaven, breath of
That's Karina.
Thank you, Karina, and the rest of the band's not too shabby either, I'll tell you. Thank you, James and company. Wow. It always takes me a little bit to kind of get back to here after immersing yourself in that wonderful energy of the music there. Okay, I'm back. We are in the season of Advent, and each Sunday is designated to be something different and something special. And I'll remind you that the reason for Advent is that we will have a preparation time for Christmas Day. And not just wake up on Christmas Day and say, oh, it's Christmas Day, let's do something. It gives us a running start, if you will. It gives you time to prepare yourself for a full experience. And what I've always wanted to do for myself and for my congregation is to create an experience that takes the experience of Christmas a little deeper every year, or look at it in a little bit of a different way, or recognize something new about it. And I think I've been pretty successful in that for myself down through the years of being able to experience Christmas in a different way. Because if you do the same thing every year over and over, before long you think, oh, it's Christmas again, so what, big deal. Well, let's not do that anymore, all right? I'm not going to do that, and I ask you to do it with me. We started out, I suggested to you that there were 4 components of Advent. The first component was the context, and then there was the promise, and then there was the waiting, and then there was the fulfillment. Now, I shared with you the context, the original context for me in looking at this today. The original context of Advent happens in the Garden of Eden. When Adam and Eve, and we're given this allegorical story about creation, Adam and Eve brought sin into the world when they did what they weren't supposed to do. They broke something that they couldn't fix. They violated their covenant with God, and they couldn't make it right. So a promise was given that it would be made right. What they couldn't do for themselves would be done for them. And that set up the promise that was carried throughout the whole Old Testament of the Messiah coming. Now, interesting thing, though, is that between the time when Adam and Eve were supposedly in the garden and when Jesus came as the Messiah, as the fulfillment of that promise given so long before, I've seen estimates between 2,000 years and 7,000 years passed. So that's a lot of time between the need for redemption and restoration and when that need showed up in the Messiah thousands of years later. That's a lot of waiting. So we find out that waiting indeed is a part of Advent. That space between when the need is recognized, when the promise is given, and when the fulfillment comes along. And it's necessary that we wait for that to be played out. In the book of Psalms, chapter 27, I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. We're given that encouragement, that admonishment many times through Scripture, waiting for God's work to be played out. God's ways are higher than our ways, and the thoughts of Spirit are higher than our thoughts, so just hang in there. Everything's going to play out when it's supposed to. And I know all of you just say, oh boy, I get to wait again, right? Have you been to Disney World or some of those places? How do they help you to wait? Yeah, this way and this way and this way. You remember the movie Michael with John Travolta about the angel? And Michael took credit for inventing that waiting in line thing. Before that, everybody just milled around all over the place. So we don't particularly like waiting. We don't enjoy it. And we'd really rather not do it. But guess what? It seems to be a part of Advent that we can't get around. Waiting for things to be played out. If you're having a physical challenge, waiting for that to be over, waiting for the body to heal itself, or waiting for a medication to kick in, or waiting to find out what the heck's wrong with you. There's a waiting time in there. If you're having financial difficulty, I talked to a young man recently who had lost his job and was trying to find a job, and he was waiting to hear from his last interview, and he was just all tied up in knots because of the waiting to hear from that. Then he got a job and found out it was going to be 3 weeks before he got paid, so now he had to wait again to get paid. It seems like this comes up over and over again, and I don't think we do it very well. I don't think we enjoy waiting. Maybe we won't ever enjoy waiting, but at least we do something productive while it's going on. So the question comes up, what do we do while we are waiting? Since it seems that waiting is an essential ingredient in Advent and in life, perhaps it would help us if we'd learn how to do it a little better. Charles Fillmore brought up, you remember the story of Abraham and Sarah. And God had promised Abraham he was going to be the father of a great nation and his descendants would be the sand of the sea. Well, the problem was he and his wife were getting on up in years past the childbearing time. And God says, you're going to have kids. And Abraham said, oh, really? Yeah. Well, instead of taking God, well, let me read what Papa Charlie said. Abraham did not doubt God's promise, but felt that it was necessary for him to assist God in bringing it into manifestation in his own way, instead of awaiting God's good time. It never occurred to him that such a promise could be fulfilled through Sarah, who was unable to bear children. Sarah, too, wanted to bring help wanted to help bring the promise into manifestation, but never gave a thought to its being done in the obvious and natural way, because her mind had set up limitations. Hence, Abraham took his wife's maid Hagar, and they had a son by her, which started all the trouble in the Middle East. You know that whole story. I'll tell you the whole story another time. Because they didn't want to wait. So, how do we wait? What do we do while we wait? I want to suggest 3 things for you that we can do while we wait. And this applies to Advent as well to all these situations in life. The first thing is that while we are waiting, we need to think every thought that is ours to think. Now, you know that when you get busy, you don't think about many things except what you're busy about. And I think that sometimes we get busy, we make ourselves busy so we won't have to think about things, all right? Any of you ever done that? You don't have to shake your head, I know you have. So one of the things that we do while we're waiting is to think everything that is ours to think. Now this is important, that is yours to think. Think every thought is yours to think, not somebody else's, but yours. And those thoughts that come to mind while you're waiting, you need to take a look at. But there's another component to that, and that is not only thinking every thought that is yours to think, but thinking only the thoughts that are yours to think. Now this gets a little deeper, but you're sitting there waiting, so you don't have anything else to do, and pay attention to this. Think every thought that is yours to think, but think only the thoughts that are yours to think. Now, many of you go through the world just this wide open book. Everything comes along, you think you got to pick it up and look at it. Every expectation that comes along, you have to fill it in, right? Everything that somebody else wants you to think, you have to think it. Get over it, okay? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work well that way. Because there are some thoughts that are yours to think and some thoughts that are not yours to think. And learning to tell the difference. You're waiting, so take the time to pay attention, to recognize the thoughts that aren't yours to think. Because is every thought that you think helpful to you? My mother, I'll get in trouble here. She's passed now, so I don't have to face her, except later down the road somewhere. My mother would have been, there's no Jewish blood in my family at all, I know, but my mother would have been the wonderful, classical, stereotypical Jewish mother. She worried about everything. If I was 5 minutes late getting home, I was in the ditch somewhere turned upside down with the car on fire. All right? If she could imagine the worst thing, she would, okay? Did that serve her very well? No, it did not, and me either. So there's some thoughts that you can think and put a lot of energy into that really aren't yours to think because they don't serve you in any helpful way whatsoever. So while you are waiting, I challenge you to think everything that is yours to think, everything, don't shy away from anything that is yours, but think only the thoughts that are yours to think and learn to tell the difference. The second thing is, while you are waiting, feel every feeling that is yours to feel. That is yours to feel. Anybody ever lay a guilt trip on you? And you were dumb enough to pick it up and carry it around? Yeah, you're trained to do that. Somebody shamed you and you carried the shame around. Well, it's their problem. It's not yours. Why are you carrying it around? They want to lay a guilt trip on you. That's their issue. It's not yours. Go ahead and have a good time with it. I'm not going to pick it up because that's not mine to feel. That shame that you threw my way, that's your stuff. It's not mine. It's not mine to feel, so I'm not going to feel it. So while we are waiting for whatever we're waiting for, Advent or otherwise, feel every feeling that is yours to feel. Now, again, we hide from those things. We get busy. We get crazy and all kinds of things, so we won't have to feel what we need to feel. You may need to feel grief. You may need to feel sadness. You may need to feel some shame because you've done something you really shouldn't have done. Well, take responsibility for it and feel the consequences of it and then deal with it and go on about your business. But while you are waiting, be courageous enough to feel everything that is yours to feel, but with the discernment, feel only the feelings that are yours to feel. You can care about people. You can be empathetic with people, but you don't have to carry around everybody else's feelings. Have you ever talked to a friend who was sad and then you found yourself sad for 3 days, long after they'd already gotten over being sad? You're still carrying it around. That's not helpful to you at all. So feel every feeling that is yours to feel, and feel only the feelings that are yours to feel. Now the third thing, while you are waiting, do everything that is yours to do. You ever avoid doing something and you know it's your responsibility? You know it's yours to do, you just don't want to do it for whatever reason. Well, while you're waiting, what else do you have to do? So do what is yours to do in that time so that it'll be productive and healthy for you. And, as I've said before, you know what's coming here. Do only the things that are yours to do. What if, think about your day. What if you had the spiritual discernment, which you do have, and you knew when something came up, whether it was yours to do or not? Take a look at your ordinary day. Do you ever do anything that's really not yours to do? You ever burn time up doing things that really aren't necessary, aren't really important, but you do them for whatever reason? But what if you have the discernment, the understanding, the wisdom to look at what's before you and say, that's not mine to do. And somebody comes and tries to lay it on you, and you can look at them and smile and say, that's not mine to do. That's not mine to do. Do you see what you liberate, how liberating that is? How much energy you're freeing up that you're not burning up doing things that aren't yours to do? So you can turn this time of waiting, which usually ties us up in knots and frustrates us, turn this time of waiting into an incredibly productive time when you recognize what is yours to think, what is yours to feel, what is yours to do, and you put all that into play while you are waiting. And before you know it, the fulfillment comes and Advent is complete. That sound good? Now I'm going to turn it on its ear and ask you the question, who's really waiting? You see, we kind of victimize ourselves in here and say, okay, well, here's the need, here's the promise, and now I got to wait. And you get frustrated by, I am waiting for this to happen, and I'm waiting for this to develop, I'm waiting for the planets to align, I'm ready for the gears to fall in place, and all of that going on. I'm waiting. Yeah, that's probably true sometimes, but what if there are times when it's not you waiting on the fulfillment, but the fulfillment waiting on you to be ready for it? What if the quantum scientists didn't really invent this, but they're just copying the mind of spirit anyway, when they say that there is no space or time in reality? It's an illusion of our experience here. So if that's true, then the need, the promise, and the fulfillment are all simultaneous. There's no lag time whatsoever. The instant a promise is given, the fulfillment of that promise is already in place, waiting on us. That twist your head around a little bit? I hope so. Because there are times when we're waiting where it's not us who's waiting on something else to happen. It's what's going to happen waiting on us to be ready and have a space to receive it. So yes, when we're waiting, we can do what we need to do. We can think and feel and do what is ours to do while we are waiting on something else to be played out in God's time. But we can also have the understanding, the discernment to understand when Spirit is waiting on us. Papa Charlie said this, in like manner, the divine substance, and you've heard me talk about substance a lot lately, and I will continue to do so next year. The divine substance out of which all things are formed in its spiritual freedom is here in our midst, waiting for us to form it into whatever we may desire. Thus it follows that God has actually planted in humankind a garden or paradise of potential substance out of which He can grow His prosperity. What if the substance is waiting on us to be formed? What if all the divine ideas we'll ever need are already there? What if all of the possibilities, all of the potential, all of the substance, all of the resources, all of the ideas are right there already, just waiting for us to look in that direction? Are waiting for us to create a space big enough for some of these things to enter into us? Because if I expect just a little bit of stuff to happen, if I expect to get blessed with a dime, and there's $300 million waiting on us, there's not room for that blessing to come in because all I'm expecting is a dime. What if all of that is waiting for us to be able to open our heart big enough to receive the blessing? What if all of that is waiting for us to get all of our garbage out of the way? I'm going to slip one day and get in trouble there. What if all that goodness is waiting for us to get the garbage out of the way so there's room to put it there? I remember hearing about when Ford came out with a new SUV years and years ago. I think it was the Excursion. That was the name of it. Humongous vehicle. It was about, I did it again. How about do this one so it'll be the same? Now. Okay. I heard the same story about the guy buying a Hummer. Not the commercial ones, but the military one. And they couldn't get their vehicles in the garage. Their garage was too small to put their vehicle in. That's the problem we have very often. And the blessings that we think we want are waiting for us to make room for them, not the other way around. So what do we do then to go through this time of waiting when the blessings are waiting on us? 3 things I would share with you to do. One thing is to think everything that is yours to think. And to think only what is yours to think. Because when we do that, we prepare ourselves for what is true and what is present. We create room when we're not burning up space and time thinking about things that aren't ours to think about. The second thing, feel everything that is yours to feel, and feel only the things that are yours to feel, because all of those feelings take up energy and they take up space. And when we get that aright, as Papa Charlie would say, when we get those things in the right place, there's room for the goodness to come. There's a place in us for new ideas and new feelings. You ever get tired of feeling the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? Have you ever been sick and tired of feeling things? Well, get done with it and let it go and allow the new feelings that you're desiring to come in, because now there's room for them. Because you realize the feelings have been waiting on you all this time and not the other way around. So we think and we feel and we do. Doing everything that is yours to do and doing only what is yours to do prepares you to receive all the blessings that are waiting for you. Prepares you to receive the answer to the prayers that you've been praying all this time. The prayers, you aren't waiting on the prayers to be. Don't worry about that. Pay no attention to that alarm coming from the back of the building. It's our faulty fire alarm we haven't gotten fixed yet, and every 12 hours you have to punch a button. It's kind of like a baby. You have to feed them and change them periodically. Well, Becky's about to feed the baby back there. While God's blessings are waiting on us, we think, we feel, we do. And that prepares us to be ready to receive new things. Till you're done with the old things and let go of them, there's no room for the new. As long as you're attached to this old stuff, there's no room for the new. As long as you think this is all there is, you can't see what really is. So there are times, as we're in this season of Advent and in this experience of life, there are times when we are waiting on the stars to align. We are waiting on God's plan to fall into place, however it's going to fall in. We are waiting on somebody else who's connected with us to get everything square. Yes, that happens, and you know what to do while you're waiting for that, while you are waiting for that. But there are times when the blessing is waiting on us. And you know what to do while creation is waiting for you. You know now what to do when Spirit is waiting for you. And everything you desire, everything you need is right here, waiting for you to simply open the door to your heart and let that be yours. So during Advent, we have the context of Advent when it all starts, that inherent need and the inherent hope that is within us. There's that time, that promise that comes along that says this is going to be right at some point. And then there is the waiting, where we wait for things to be played out in the world and come back to us, and where we realize that all of God's blessings are waiting on us too at times. And now we know what to do. So during this week of waiting, I invite you to put these principles into practice. Play with some of these things and become very much aware of what's going on inside of you. Be aware of when you're thinking things that aren't yours to think, when you're feeling things that aren't yours to feel, when doing things that aren't yours to do. And change that during this time of Advent. Happy Advent. God bless you.
Well, we don't need to wait very long to take an offering, but I do have something I want to tell you about. This is something you can all participate in, at least those of you who shop online. You may have heard of the Amazon Smile program. If you take out your phone and want to take a screenshot there of the website, the link, if you click on that, it'll take you directly there, and I think in less than a minute, you can be signed up. It will recognize your name if you already have an Amazon account. But there's also a little handout slip in the back. We encourage you to take this with you, give it to those online shoppers that you know. I know my daughter lives in the Bahamas. She does all her shopping online, and she's already placed an order. So Amazon gives 0.5% of your order as part of their charity program. Now, it isn't a lot, but certainly it will add up, and we want to take advantage of that. It costs you nothing, and it doesn't even take extra time. So please give us this little gift of participating in Amazon Smile. And as to the waiting and the points that Lawrence was making this morning, our abundance class, Absolute Abundance, will prove this to you. It will prove it to you that when you get things in alignment, the blessings just flow in your life. And we will be so thrilled to share our own stories and how things happen and everything from the smallest to the largest. So won't you come on out for that? But meanwhile, what is yours to do, you know, if you're part of this spiritual family, is to help support us. So we welcome your giving right now. We thank you for everything you give, all of your service, all of your attendance, but it all takes money to keep us in operation. And your gifts provide for our staff, for our musicians, and for maintenance on this 50-year-old building. So we appreciate everything you have to give. And let's bless our gift now with our offering prayer. With a grateful heart, I acknowledge God as source of all that is. Today I declare good for myself and all others. Good is mine. Good and more good is mine. And ever-increasing good is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this good. I feel it, I experience it, I freely give it, and it multiplies itself around me. And so it is. Amen.
For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, unto us, Lord. Unto us a child is born, unto us the son is given, Son is given. For unto us a child is born, he shall be called Prince of Peace. Little shepherd boy, wrapped in swaddling clothes, he shall be called Mighty One. For unto us a child is born, his kingdom and throne shall be no end, established to judge with justice and love, now and evermore. Lord, we, Lord, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. For unto us a child is born, he shall be called Prince of Peace. Little shepherd boy, wrapped in swaddling clothes, he shall be called Mighty One. Ooh, for unto us a child is born, little shepherd boy, wrapped in swaddling clothes, he shall be called the Mighty One, shall be called the Mighty One. Little shepherd boy, little shepherd boy, wrapped in swaddling clothes, he shall be called Mighty One. For unto us a child is given, for unto us a child is given, little shepherd boy, to us a child is born.
That's Karina.
And now, why don't you remain standing, and we will close today with blessing each other with our prayer for protection. Our chaplains are taking positions to be able to pray with you. Bob is on his way, and there's Olga, and there's Dina and Sandra all on this side. Over here we have Nancy and Dee, and we have Liz. So we have plenty of people to pray with you today. Enjoy the holidays with positive prayer. as you leave today, and let's gather in Fellowship Hall. So together, let us bless each other with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with Have yourself a merry little Christmas. In your heart be light. From now on your troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on your troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star